Hi everyone, McBeard here, back with another video. This one's a fun one. When I was playing Northern Realms on stream the other day, I was playing with Dandelion, and it came pretty apparent that Dandelion seemed to be showing the cards in my deck as they were actually in my deck, which I thought that would be pretty powerful if that was actually true. Is there a way to actually make this work? Is there a way to test this? And there is obviously lots of ways to test it. So I did some testing, a little Dandelion Mythbusters. Let's take a look here and I'll show you my findings and a lot of interesting stuff with how Dandelion shows your decks, how the mulligan affects that, and how your overall deck affects that. So let's quickly look at Dandelion's description. Dandelion simply says deploy boost up to 3 bronze or silver units in your deck by 3. It doesn't say anything about looking at your deck, and it definitely doesn't say anything about shuffling your deck. All we know is that what Dandelion shows us are bronze and silver units. The reason why I wanted to call attention to the tooltip is this is remarkably different from Stefan Skellen. Stefan Skellen tells you to choose any card from your deck and place it on top, then shuffle the rest of your deck. So Dandelion clearly omits this part about shuffling the deck. So I wanted to just quickly make a deck to find out how we could test this and how this is affected across like a number of different situations. So in order to correctly test this, we had to make a deck with 1 gold unit, no special cards whatsoever. So every unit we saw was exactly everything that was in our deck, should this be true. So that's the reason why, and also I didn't include Royal Decree to improve my chances of drawing Dandelion in the test, because it still would be a special card and a gold card that Dandelion wouldn't see. So it had to be Dandelion only, and it had to be a group of units. This deck is really just for testing purposes. So let's go into the tests, and I'll show you what I found, and then we can talk about it. I think it's really interesting. For the first test, I just wanted to do a straight up Dandelion play. Did I draw what Dandelion showed me? Very simple test. So I do have Dandelion in my hand, so I go ahead and do this very simple first test. We play Dandelion and we see 2 blue striped scouts being the next draw. So if I were to buff both of these scouts, I would know that I drew those cards. As predicted, Dandelion showed me the correct cards to draw. So the second test I wanted to run, how accurate is Dandelion? Is Dandelion showing me the entire list, or was I just maybe lucky in that first test? Didn't seem like luck, but I wanted to see how far I could go. So I had Taller on hand to help me here because it would ensure that I would draw 5 cards. I'd draw the first 2 units on the round start, which Dandelion would be maybe showing would be Kedweni Siege Support and Stennis. And then Taller would draw me a Blue Stripe Scout and a Dunbanner Heavy Cavalry. Finally, my 5th draw would be a Field Medic. I decided to buff these units up and see what we draw at the beginning of the round. So this should be a Kedweni Siege Support and then Stennis, which it was, the buffed ones as well. So if Dandelion was correct all the way through, Taller would be showing me a Blue Striped Scout and a Dunbanner Heavy Cavalry. And it's true, so I grabbed the Blue Striped Scout, and over the course of this game, I play a Field Medic, which then draws the Dunbanner Heavy Cavalry off the top of my deck, which you can briefly see in this board state following. Assuming Dandelion was true, my next draw would be a Field Medic, and there she was, on the draw just as Dandelion predicted. I wanted to check something else. This time I wanted to specifically mulligan a bronze unit before using Dandelion and drawing. Fortunately, the first mulligan gave me Dandelion. Dandelion then showed me the mulligan unit at the top of my deck. This either means that it went there truthfully, or what Dandelion is showing me is similar to the graveyard. The most recently added card is the leftmost card. I did not draw the mulligan card and instead drew the next 2 shown to me by Dandelion. At the time, I was unsure of what was happening, and I had doubts from this test because I had buffed both of the Dunbanner. I was unsure exactly which one I drew and which one went missing. I continued this game to see if the next card drawn would be the missing Dunbanner or Taller, which was the next card shown to me by Dandelion. It was. I had to try this a few more times with this new information. This time, once again, Dandelion without a mulligan, we see a field medic, a Redanian elite, and a field medic. Again, I should have left one of these medics unbuffed, but I focus on this in the final test. I figured the next card I would draw would be a field medic. But what if I mulligan the field medic now? Would I draw the Dunbanner Heavy Cavalry? Would my draw after that be the Redanian Elite? My AI opponent helped the sequence along. I mulliganed the medic, which blacklisted it, even though the third medic was on top of my deck. I drew the Dunbanner Heavy Cavalry that I saw. My opponent immediately plays Albrecht, which draws me another card. It's the medic that dodged the blacklisting. There's still more to test, but I was curious if Dandelion was correct in showing me the next card to be Redanian Elite. Taller shows me that this is true. I wondered if I would ever see that mulligan medic again, so I played this one out as well to have one more mulligan. This doesn't really support the Dandelion investigation, but interestingly enough, she came back from wherever the mulligan dimension sent her. For my final test, I mulligan 2 units first, and then I play Dandelion.
Do not test my patience.
I mulligan a Kedweni Siege support and a reinforced Siege Tower. On playing Dandelion, those units are on top of the deck in the order they went back into the deck. I buff only one Kedweni Siege support this time, assuming that the first 2 cards are not actually on top of my deck. If this was true, my next draws would be the buffed Kedweni Siege support and Prince Stennis, followed by a Blue Stripe Scout. Taller shows this to be true.
That's nice.
Stennis goes to the top of my deck, and my next 2 draws are Stennis and the Blue Stripe Scout. So what did we learn? We learned that Dandelion definitely shows you the correct order of all non-gold, non-special cards in your deck, and it's right, and it doesn't shuffle it, and you know exactly when you're going to be drawing these cards. If you mulligan before using Dandelion, your mulligan cards will be shown first, much like how the graveyard shows the units that just entered it on the leftmost side, and the true location of those cards will be unknown. Now, you probably won't be playing a deck with no gold cards and no special cards to be taking advantage of this, but the information that Dandelion provides to you is actually very powerful. While what Dandelion shows you is not 100% of the time your true draws, you'll know what you're probably not going to draw by how far down a card appears at the end of the list. For instance, if you had a strategy involving Nanika, and you saw her at the end of the list that Dandelion showed you, unless you do natural thinning, you're probably not going to draw that card, and you can plan accordingly. This ultimately makes Dandelion a stronger card than I originally thought, and I've already very much enjoyed playing with the Bard. Hope you enjoyed this little card investigation, and thanks so much for watching.